In this video, I'm going to show you how I installed these bifold barn doors to solve a big issue left by the previous owner of my house. I'm also going to show how I added this awesome closet lighting to activate whenever the doors are opened. You can see from these listing photos that the closets in my master bedroom had no closet doors when we bought the house. I can certainly understand using the left closet as a home office, but I don't understand why they abandoned this huge closet on the right side simply to hold a chest of drawers and a TV. That certainly didn't work for us, so I immediately installed this closet organizer to hold my clothes, which coincidentally is the same configuration that I used in my previous house. I'll link to that video in the description below if you're interested in seeing how they're installed. Although the closet is organized, we didn't want to stare at the clothes like this. We needed to install some doors to cover them up. First, we considered bypass doors, but felt like they'd be in the way if I wanted to get at the bank of drawers in the middle of the closet organizer. Standard bifold doors might work, but the opening was 75 inches, which is wider than these doors could handle. So I'd either need to have them custom made or build in one of the sides to make the opening smaller. The downside of traditional barn doors is they need a lot of wall space, which we didn't have on either side of this closet. So I ordered these 72-inch bifold barn doors on Amazon, and I paid around $500 when they were on sale in 2025. They shipped in 2 big boxes and got pretty banged up, but thankfully they were packed well and there was no damage. Each door panel has 3 panes of frosted tempered glass that has a bit of a green tint with our lighting. It came with a decent paper manual that was actually written in English, not just IKEA-style diagrams, which I really appreciated. I started by marking the height of the track on the wall and then proceeded to locate the studs, which are mandatory because these doors are much too heavy to hang with drywall anchors. For some reason, my stud finder wasn't working reliably up there, so I had to use the knuckle method and ultimately a screw to make sure I found the framing. If you're lucky enough to have a solid wood header above your door, you might be able to attach the bracket directly to the wall. I didn't have a header, so I needed to use a 1x4 backer board above the door. The backer board gets attached to the studs, and the track gets attached to the backer board. I would definitely recommend filling the screw holes and painting the backer board before installing the track. But I was impatient, and I thought I'd remove it later to paint. Silly me. The doors are pre-drilled for the top brackets as well as the bottom pivot point, which also gets a metal sleeve to prevent it from wearing. Positioning the bottom pivot point bracket is the hardest part. The manual says to measure from the bottom of the wall, but that only works if your walls are straight, and mine weren't. So I hung the doors on the track and marked them on the floor with masking tape. And then I marked the center of the pivot point hole on the tape, marked the hole locations on the floor, and used a masonry bit to drill 2 of the 4 mounting holes. There's no adjustment on these brackets, and it's very hard to drill precise holes in concrete because the bit wanders. After I initially hung the doors, I noticed they were slightly out of alignment. To correct this, I drilled a third hole to move the right pivot bracket out slightly. This wouldn't have been necessary at all if there was a way to adjust the pivot points on the bracket, but it worked out okay in the end.
Okay, the hardest part here on this fixed point, the pivot point on the ends, is that it has this stop that slides on here and goes under there and underneath this bracket. And you can see it right there. And then this set screw goes in. But then the hardest part is that there's 2 set screws on the back of this. Getting it in the hole is the hardest part. And then once it's in, you just screw it like normal, but it's a lot of work to get it in.
After they were hung, I had an excessive amount of space on both sides of the doors because the backer board pulled them far from the wall, plus the opening was a few inches too wide. We didn't like seeing in the sides so that we could see the clothes.
Okay, here you can see the doors are completely installed. And I also added these pieces right here. It's kind of an L. This is a 1x4 and this one is a 1x2, and they're joined together, and I nailed them into the wall, and they cover that space on the side. So that looks great. And of course I repaired the trim down the bottom too. I did that on both sides, and highly recommend painting that piece up the top because that was a pain in the neck to do. I thought I would take down the track, but after all the work it was to put it up, I said forget it, and I didn't bother. So I had to touch up the paint and whatnot from behind that track. So it was a big pain. The handles are not the ones that came with the kit. The ones that came with the kit were pretty chintzy. Luckily, they were not drilled, pre-drilled. So I got these separately. These are nice and chunky, and they go with the whole kind of chunkiness of the hardware. Now, if I open it up, you can see I have complete access to everything in my closet because they go nice and far out of the way. Plus, I've got my access to drawers here too. Now, the lights are a really pretty cool feature, and those are done with a sensor on the doors so that when the doors are open, the lights go on. So inside the closet, you can see this is a Zigbee contact sensor and a magnet over here. And when the doors are closed, everything is fine, the light stays off. But when I separate the magnet from that sensor, the light goes on immediately. But if I close the door, I have it set so that it stays on for an extra 5 seconds, and then it goes off. Now you can see this is actually 2 power strips. One goes across the top and the other side, and the other one goes down this left side here. You can see the 2 power leads. And they actually come, I'm fortunate to have an outlet in this closet. So all I have is a Zigbee smart plug, and that's the transformer that came with the power strips. So if you've got an outlet in the closet, it makes it easy. If you don't, well, then it's more challenging. If you don't have an outlet in the closet, you could do something like this, which is a rechargeable motion sensor light. Works great in a pinch if you don't have an outlet, but certainly if you have an outlet, you can get more light from the other ones. Now, if you don't have Home Assistant, this is a very simple alternative that I found. It comes paired in one package. It's just a very simple contact switch that controls a smart plug. So when the door would open, the smart plug would go on. And this doesn't require any kind of smart home whatsoever. It doesn't use internet. It's just radio attached, radio frequency. And they come pre-paired from the factory the way they are. You just basically peel and stick, and it would turn on the light for you, as long as you have an outlet inside the closet.
Now, in addition to that 5-second delay, the other benefit of using Home Assistant is that I can suppress the automation while my wife is still in bed sleeping, so that if I open the doors in the morning when it's dark, it doesn't wake her up. You'll find affiliate links to all these products in the video description below. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think of these doors. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Hey there, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon to be the first to know when new videos are posted. Look for HandyDadTV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and visit the website HandyDadTV for more great ideas and information.